Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. I'm your host, Steve Fieros with Tri-City Equity Group. Today, I'm excited. We've got Mike Cossette on the show. So Mike's a real estate broker. He's an investor and co-owner of RE/MAX Gateway. He's based in Austin, Texas. He's got over 20 years of experience, both in residential and commercial real estate. He specializes in luxury homes, multifamily, short-term rentals, and small commercial properties, which I'm sure we're going to dive into here in a little bit. He just told me about a unique opportunity I haven't heard of anybody really investing in, but he's been helping investors scale their portfolios up through creative finance, through strategic acquisitions, and market-driven insights. He's an active investor himself. So I always think that that's super valuable, especially for agents and brokers to own property. So he's done fix and flip, BRRRRs, even bought a Florida island, which you definitely have to talk about, or an island development. But yeah, he's here to kind of share his market insight and see what he's gone on in his local market and beyond. Mike, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. And thanks for having me. I love what the Cashflow Project's doing, and you guys put on a great show. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to have you on, Mike, and glad to kind of get your insight on what's happening in the market now. But kind of before we jump in, for those of our listeners that may not be familiar with you or haven't run across you out in the marketplace, how'd you get started? Give us your background. How'd you get started into real estate?
Well, long story short, got started, kind of a familiar story I've heard, but in college as a fraternity, getting into a fraternity, and my folks lived out of state. So kind of married the two together, picked up a property, 4-bedroom with an attic that we rented out, and rented that space out to my fraternity brothers, learned the dynamics of house hacking with multiple people, did some rehab after we destroyed the house, and learned that the appreciation over just a few years going into 2003, 4, and 5, before the previous crash, the bank was ready to keep lending us money on a asset that we were having fun with. So a lot of light bulbs went off there in buying that property. As a 23-year-old, I learned a lot about the sales side of things and really felt that I was having some injustices done and wasn't really being respected as a potential buyer. And that really hit home. So I understood that I felt like I could do better in the marketplace on the sales side, just showing up to appointments on time, answering questions, giving people the respect that they deserved. That was something that was important to me on the sales side. And then obviously on the investing side, learning all the dynamics with house hacking, paying mortgages, doing repairs, borrowing money, doing rehabs, and then ultimately selling. So that's kind of how I got started in both the investing side, and then shortly after graduation, started a RE/MAX franchise and stuck around Central Texas and been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. I mean, most people aren't thinking to go right into, let's say, franchise ownership, that's pretty unique. But obviously, just in you sharing that right there, or your kind of how your backstory, you saw a need in the marketplace. And as business owners, entrepreneurs, that's how we can best not only provide value for ourselves, but look for those opportunities where it's like, okay, hey, there's a hole here that needs to be serviced. You're providing value in, hey, these clients aren't being taken care of. I think this can be done better. So it's like, boom, okay, there's your opportunity to step in. And I love that. So I don't think I've had anybody on there who talked definitely house hacking for sure. I'm a huge advocate for house hacking, but not through the fraternity route, which I think is awesome. So that was just like a win on multiple fronts.
Oh yeah. In need of a fraternity house and needed a home base for the family when they came to Texas. And luckily my folks had a little bit of money they were willing to invest. And all I had to do was pay rent, get rent, pay the mortgage, run the property, and not burn it to the ground. So
Now, were your family investors, or they just kind of, from a practical sense, was it, hey, you know what, you're going to be going to college at a distance, like versus us paying the tuition and for some type of additional housing cost, we'll just buy your house? Whose idea was it for, let's say, the house hack component?
Well, it was a multiple people idea, I guess. one of my older fraternity brothers kind of brought the idea to the table while I was in discussion during one of those family alumni type where they come down and see the campus and stuff. And my dad had just sold a tech company, so he had a little bit of extra cash, and just looking at the numbers, how much they charge you for rent in these college towns can be pretty crazy. And to understand where we were in the marketplace at 2003, it was kind of like you couldn't really lose. So it all kind of came together. Wasn't necessarily one person's idea. I definitely moved the needle quite a bit and found the properties, toured the properties, pitched the idea multiple times, and finally made sense to everyone and got it stuck.
Oh, awesome. So you actually sold it. So I mean, you've been probably cutting your teeth on that end of selling the opportunity, selling the vision. Oh, very cool. Is that a property you still own? Was this in Austin or?
This was in San Marcos, Texas. So yeah,
you're right down the road.
Familiar? Yeah. Back at Southwest Texas State University.
All of that area has grown so much. All I-35 corridor, it's just blown out. Every time I'm blown away every time I look at the population projection numbers. For anybody who kind of wants an eye-opening stat, like look at the population number projection out through like 2050 for that area, and you'll be blown away. And so that was fuel to the fire. I mean, obviously you would have been there kind of before the real big boom, but it's been growing a long time. So
it really has.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, give us a little bit of your, obviously you were able to monetize that. You were able to capitalize on kind of this, effectively what it's a house hack. Is that something you continue to do? Is this something that you switch gears, investing strategies, or?
Yeah, it is definitely one of our kind of investing strategies. I loved house hacking. House hacking is always house hacked since college, really. Always had someone living with me, and all up until I had 4 kids. So we house hacked with my wife. We built a duplex, and we did a Airbnb, short-term rental. Should I put him away? You hear the dog in the background? Oh, no.
You're good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the house hacking thing has always been prevalent in my mind and really helpful throughout the process of building equity and wealth. And my wife and I love to travel. So we did a lot of traveling while we back in 2013 to 2015, did the Airbnb thing, and learned that Airbnb money back at that time could essentially pay for our extensive traveling. And so we did that for a while, traveled the world, and then had 2 kids, then had 2 more kids. So turned that into a nice little duplex, rented out to bachelor parties, do all sorts of events in Austin. They've got Formula One, South by Southwest, ACL, all those great big events. And so we just loved hosting big groups of people, and then of course using that to travel. And then when we had our twins a couple of years ago, we had to get a little bit bigger of a space. So we still own that downtown duplex, and that's one of our most profitable assets, I would say. Although I don't get to interact with the guests these days, it's still one of those fun assets to be able to just go downtown and stay there on occasion. So yeah, the house hacking thing is definitely kind of the easy way in my opinion. And if you can get into a multifamily house hack, then that's even better.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, this is something that I can speak also personal experience on, and it's an incredibly powerful way, just like you said, like for one to get into it, because a lot of times, hey, a lot of people don't think about that. It's like, okay, well, hey, look, you can still get low down FHA government type loans on it. So you don't have to, that doesn't have to be something where it's like, okay, well, hey, it's an investment loan, it's an investment property, so I'm going to have to put down more. I'm going to have to pay a little bit more on the percentage on the mortgage. No, it's like, hey, how about you house hack it? It's a way to get started. You get into it, you get your kind of preferred financing there. You're lowered down. If the numbers make sense, now you have, not only is that going to help offset your housing expense, which let's be honest, especially now, for most people, I love Dave Ramsey and all these guys for the people in the right season, but man, like saving the money on the cup of coffee doesn't do a whole lot for me. But guess what? If I can eat and chew into my biggest expense, which for the vast majority of people is going to be their housing expense, what does that do for your finances? If you're paying $2,500 a month, or here in Hawaii, I mean, that's $4,000 or $5,000 a month. with our price points, if I can get somebody else to pay that and I live for free, but now I can take that $4,000 or $5,000 a month, put that towards investing. Do you think that that does something for your investing potential? I mean, I think that's an underlooked, underutilized strategy. So it sounds like you've done that, obviously. And then you throw on another strategy on there like Airbnb, and now you're really putting fuel on the fire. That opens up all kinds of doors, just like as you've seen. And it sounds like you also had the wherewithal to, okay, you also bought in the path of progress. Okay, if you've owned in Austin for a long time now, I mean, well over a decade, 15 probably plus years. You said 2013, and it had to have been probably before that, a little bit before that, imagine. You bought Path of Progress. So was that something that you had seen, or you just liked the area and you decided, all right, yeah, after college, I want to kind of stick around this area?
I mean, I loved the area and I really did feel like there was a lot of growth going to happen there. It was kind of a gut feeling that if I love this area so much, there's got to be something to that. With all the different rivers that are available, Austin was still kind of a relatively small city, hadn't really boomed yet. And I had relationships there. So I think those three things. I did live in Houston for a little while when I was younger. Didn't really love the Houston area. Visited Dallas. Didn't really love the Dallas area. Growing up in Florida as a young kid, I always said if I didn't live in Austin, I probably wouldn't live in Texas. I'd probably go back to Florida. But Austin is such a chill, relaxed area. And with all the different pieces that keep coming in, the bullish nature of some of the big tech companies that are here, it's tough to look at Austin and say, I don't see a future.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And have you looked at other? I mean, obviously, I know you have invested in other areas. How's that been? Like, what do you have your hand in terms of different or background? I know you've got some interesting stories with some storms of life, both literal and figurative.
Yeah, no, I always liked Florida. My parents are Gators, and so I've got a soft spot for Florida. I love the beaches on the Gulf Coast. They've got great fishing, and no one really during COVID. There wasn't COVID in most of Florida. Didn't really know what COVID was. So that was an opportunity that we kept visiting Florida during the COVID area timeline, and with the low interest rates and stuff like that, we did pick up some properties in Florida that we still have today. One of them being the island that you mentioned. And then we picked up another kind of short-term rental to facilitate the logistics of the island right there on the Gulf Coast between Tampa and Orlando. So yeah, that one got hit by about four hurricanes in about 13 months. So that's been fun dealing with out-of-state disaster insurance and rehab. But
That's got to be stories just specifically from that. I mean, gosh, I can't imagine you got hit by that many storms, like in that short a period of time. I mean, how do you even deal with that? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was pretty devastating, not knowing exactly what you're going to do. And luckily, we were able to utilize money from the SBA and sell some waterfront land that we had bought in Texas to kind of pay them back and then do some rehab and then pick up a big insurance policy because of the SDA was kind of requiring to have that. And then got hit with the subsequent hurricanes that Milton and Helene that the insurance was able to kind of reimburse us for. So over the course of 2 years and continuous rehab, we haven't really seen a big loss as you might think. Although the opportunity cost of time is real, and we've learned a lot dealing with the SBA. That's almost like a job on its own, I'll tell you.
Well, yeah, but that's a cool thing is too. It's like, okay, if you blaze the trail forward, now you have an opportunity also. You're in a position where it's like, okay, hey, if you're going to help a client out, hey, you've got a client that's kind of processing and working through that. Hey, now you also have the experience to go back and, okay, well, hey, let me share my experience with you. This is how you can deal with this. This is how you can help mitigate this. Obviously, Texas has plenty of waterfront property. Also, I've got, hey, you got somebody, a client or somebody looking down there. Okay, well, hey, these are some things maybe you want to be on the lookout for, that kind of deal. So even in the challenges, right, we can always take away from, if we see them as learning experiences, obviously we can apply that moving forward.
Absolutely. Every experience is a learning experience. I love taking on new challenges that I haven't tried before and take pride in experiencing and testing the waters before I try to point someone in that direction. So our asset portfolio is quite diversified. Like you said, we have islands, multifamily, Airbnbs, single family, long-term rentals, BRRRRs, hurricane disaster rehabs, and doing some self-directed IRA purchases right now with a couple of investors of mine. And so not real experience with that, but loving the learning curve, dealing with the different asset types all across the board.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that's something people don't often explore. They think, okay, well, hey, you're a real estate investor. Okay, so that means you own single family house that you put in a long-term tenant into. And it's for a lot of people, or you fix and flip. It's like, because they see the TV shows. And so like in their mind, it's like, hey, that's the only way to invest. And it's, well, no, there's actually a lot of different types of property out there, a lot of different size properties, all different ways that you can get financing for it. You're talking about using self-directed IRA. Well, that's a very powerful tool that I feel like a lot of people don't tap into. Creative finance, which has been real big the last several years with assumable debt or all the low interest rates. So like, don't sleep on the fact that, hey guys, like there's only one way. Well, I'm not a flipper. Okay, well, great. You don't have to be a flipper. Like there's a lot of different ways to own property. Like you touched on just a handful of them with multifamily and whatnot. You mentioned earlier too, kind of off camera, we were talking briefly about even a commercial opportunity. I hadn't heard that before. Like where you're seeing warehouse space. Is that like in the Austin area, or where are you seeing that?
Yeah, I think on the macro side of things, the warehouse demand for warehouse with snap kitchens and e-commerce and is becoming more and more a demand. The storefronts are kind of shrinking with different Amazons and online stores. People need places to move stuff, and people are utilizing AI to create their own businesses. And having the warehouse space that's flexible, you can do build outs of a variety of levels and rent parts of it out. So I think one of the opportunities that we're seeing here in the Central Texas market is building a owner occupied warehouse. So if you have a business, if that's something that you are looking to do, the margin for new construction, if you've got a little bit of upfront cash and the time, then there are some really big margins when you ground up and locating the warehouse business parks that are already in existence and being able to pick up one of those lots. So you don't have all the upfront zoning and making the paper right to build that. It's already in place. If you can kind of pick up one of those and build your own, then there's lots of juice in that. The juice is worth the squeeze in that. So we've got a couple investors that are really making hay on that front and building some big warehouses, able to use them for themselves, rent out pieces of them, and with big margins. So I think that is an opportunity. Not for everyone. You can't get in there low cost and do it quickly. It takes a lot of time and a decent sized amount of money, but there's lots of money on the sidelines that also is ready to invest in these kind of warehouse opportunities. Tesla and Elon is buying up big swaths of land all up and down the east side of Austin. And with that, the surrounding areas are seeing a lot of growth. And with a lot of that growth, which is open spaces along the highways, the counties and the cities are loving these little warehouse parks that are popping up everywhere. So I don't know that that's prevalent all over the place, but in Central Texas, that is a good opportunity for investors with a little bit of cash and some time.
Oh, that's awesome. And actually, I love that too. I mean, for a few different things. Obviously, this is why Buc-ee's is there. You see that. And so, but this is another thing too. You touched on a little bit on this earlier, Mike. This is a path of progress play. You mentioned it just right now. It's like, okay, well, this may not work for everybody. Like that's not going to work here. Okay. This is part of having a diversified portfolio, just like how Mike was alluding to. Diversified, like everybody talk, oh, well, hey, stocks and bonds. I'm thinking just in my retirement accounts. No, well, you can also have a diversified portfolio in your real estate, whether that be different strategies, whether that be different type of asset class, right? Whether that be geographic diversity. One of the things that we experience a lot here, like you mentioned it earlier, Hawaii was really shut down during COVID. But guess what? We were buying in the states that were open. We were buying in Tennessee and Texas. And I visited Florida during COVID. And it's just like how you said, you would have never known. Like people were living life just as just as they were, as if nothing was going on. And so this also plays into having a well-diversified portfolio for all of the listeners. Hey, don't be afraid to buy at a distance because that can actually help to bring you protection should we have, further instability in the market. And guess what, guys? If that happened once, it's all cyclical. It will happen again. And so this is a way to protect yourself. Hey, if you're in a market, maybe you're in California or you're in Hawaii and things did not go very well during COVID, okay, well, buy some stuff. Even if you don't want to move there, buy some assets at in a market where like Mike's at, Central Texas, that is growing. Maybe they do have companies coming in, or in a place that you'd like to visit and you know that it's up and coming, the Carolinas or the Tennessee or Florida. There's a lot of different markets out there, but don't be afraid to invest outside of your own backyard. So no, I love your even just bringing to light that investing strategy. I hadn't heard that. And so this is the benefit of having people that are trying things, doing things that are in a different market. Maybe that could work in your market and people just aren't doing it yet. Guess what? Go do some exploring. Talk to Mike, pick his brain. Hey, how did you guys overcome this? Or how did you guys get around this? Well, I'm sure talking to you or other people in your local market would have some insight into that. So I love that. Very cool. Well, Mike, this is the point in our show where we transition into something we call our fire round. Just a little bit more brief Q&A, more rapid fire. Is that something you're up for?
Sure. Let's bring it on.
Awesome. All right. First question. What is your favorite book recommendation? For a lot of us in the investing world, we've got like kind of our go-to favorites, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon. But do you have any go-tos that you recommend to people or that you're fond of?
Yeah, I've got two. One's more mindset, business oriented, and that's the Slight Edge with Jeff Olson. I love that book. I try to read it every couple of years. Really brings in the point of the little things you do that compress over time and how that really can build momentum. Highly recommend that one. And then from the real estate side, I really love the Multifamily Millionaires, part 1 and 2. I think Brandon Turner and somebody else, but they really break down and simplify the dynamics and the angles of investing and how multifamily strategy really works. So those were some of the key books that I read before getting into the commercial multifamily stuff, so I could understand it for my own investing. And light bulbs went off. So, and soon after that, we took on an apartment complex. So love those two books. Highly recommend.
Yeah. And actually I'm going to break out of our deal here real quick, just to kind of pick your brain about that. We'll kind of go down a rabbit trail here. So I don't know about you, but switching gears, once we switch gears into multifamily, it's like, oh my goodness, like it's such a light bulb moment, just because you can understand, wow, these are so much more efficient, right? And let's say you're listening in and you're like, well, hey, Mike, hey, Steve, I'm not ready for commercial. That's totally fine. You can still buy up to a 4-unit. You could buy a 3 or a 4-unit residential multifamily. That's still multifamily. And it's a great way to cut your teeth on owning multiple units. But I can guarantee you guys, once you own multiple doors under one roof, it's so freaking powerful. And you really help to reduce how much exposure that you have. Because, hey, if I've got a vacant unit and I've got a 4-unit quadplex, fourplex, well, guess what? I still got 3 other tenants paying. I still have 75% of my income coming in, even if one unit is down. Versus if I have just one single family door, well, if that guy's not paying the rent, well, who's paying it? Yeah, I'm paying it. I'm on the hook for the entire thing. So just the efficiency of that, not having to worry about 4 times the maintenance, right? I just got one roof to replace if that has to go out, versus, okay, I've got 4 single family houses because I've just been buying them one at a time. And now I've got 3 of my roofs need to be changed because I did have a storm come through. That's significantly more expensive than just doing one. Well, okay, how long is it going to take you to recoup the cost of that roof across those 3 doors? You think that's going to chew up your cash flow for the next 10 years if you're cash flowing $100 a door a month? You're going to be there for a while. So I don't know if you've got anything to add to that. I just wanted to.
I love that. The economies of scale really open up the different levers that you can pull when you're looking at the multifamily sector, like things just doing solar power and reducing your energy costs, or paying for internet for your tenants and now including that in the rent, and just the factors that you can use to reduce your expenses and increase your NOI that drives the value of the property. Putting in covered parking. And so the more doors you have, the more scalable making these little moves is, and the compounding effect it has on the value of the asset when in a declining market where homes might not be selling for what they were, you have control over your building. And it's not about what relative properties necessarily are selling for. Yeah, you have market cap rates, but if you can dictate the effects of your expenses and how they translate to your net operating income and raise the value of your building, then that is the value. So that is the biggest light bulb, I think, when anyone looks at the multifamily strategy of all the different levers that you can pull that aren't available in the residential world.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree. I mean, this is why we switched gears years ago to that and started kind of going down that route. You have so many more levers. Like you said, like you're not at the mercy of the market, right? I don't care about what Mary and Joe sold their house for around the street. I mean, that's a building, like how you said, do you have general market cap? Yes, of course. But like, that doesn't matter for the comps. Its focus is more on my operations and how skilled I am at being able to operate my property efficiently. I'm rewarded for that versus getting penalized for, let's say, things that I don't have any control over. You don't have any control over what the houses in your neighborhood sell for. Can you go mow their lawn and keep their house up and maintain their paint and all that kind of stuff? No, you don't have any control over that, but you can control, just to Mike's point, you can control, hey, what kind of amenities are you offering? Are you offering valet trash service? Are you offering covered parking? Are you offering cable? Like all these little things, and you got all these little levers. But on the commercial side, the valuation happens by driving your income, driving your NOI, managing your expenses well. You're rewarded for that versus on the residential side. I'm not going to beat up the residential, but they're very different strategies. And this is how people truly grow wealth. It's so much more efficient. So yeah, I love that. I just wanted to go down that little rabbit hole as soon as we started talking about multifamily and increasing density.
Love it.
All right, next question. All right, what would you consider your superpower to be? Other than a great energetic smile, man, I can see like he's just ready to go.
My superpower is the building of trust and relationships. I think people are, I don't know if it's me, if it's the vibrations I put off, maybe the energy that I try to bring. But when I'm dealing with difficult people, I seem to find a pretty nice flow with just about everyone. And people are attracted to doing business and working with me and continuing to kind of refer me. So I think that's something that I don't know if it's a superpower or not, but that's something that I have seen over time, that I have a little bit of natural ability, consciously or unconsciously, over kind of the general pop.
Yeah, no, and I would definitely consider that a superpower because like that, everybody has the benefit of that. We all ran into those people who are grumpy Gus and they're not smiling. I would say that just to kind of add to that, hey, you obviously, you got a great smile. And so that's one of those things, like even for our listeners, hey, you'd be amazed what a smile does, right? Like even just something so simple as that. And I think it actually, what people also pick up on, Mike, is you mentioned at the very beginning of our conversation that, hey, you saw a hole in the marketplace, that these people, you weren't being served well as a client, as an agent. And so even just that heart to want to help people, that has to come through. And so I think that genuineness, people pick up on that. That comes through in the smile. Hey, this guy really cares. This guy really does want to help me out. He's obviously got the experience to do that, but just from a place of, all right, what are your motivations? As an agent, this is to all the agents that are listening. Guys, you get commission bread real quick. I can tell you that puts off clients. So just FYI.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, having a real innate want to help people do what they want to do and removing yourself from the equation instinctually. I think people do read on that, and the commission breath is a real thing, and especially in tough markets. So keep an open mind about those things, guys. If you're struggling a little bit, you can't let that breed off on your clients. You got to help them, and the business will come.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll actually touch back real quick too, and then especially because you're an agent, Mike, but you're also an investor. You're also a little bit more of a unicorn. Like, how many agents have you talked to that are not investors? Okay, yeah, you own a house for yourself and that kind of deal, and I totally get that. But it's just not something that's typically taught on or people really pursue. And so, if you're an investor or if you are a real estate agent and you're listening in to us, make it a point to go out and secure some opportunities. You guys are out in the field every day already working, trying to find off-market leads. Inevitably, you find stuff that, could be an opportunity, a deal for you. Pursue it. Don't be afraid of that. And then that's what that will do is, hey, let's say you find a deal like how Mike was talking about. You find a duplex that you can house hack and Airbnb the other side. Now you got stable income. Guess what? What you don't have, you don't got commission breath because you're not worried about making that next sale. You're not dependent on that. Now you can help the people coming from a genuine heart of service versus like, I got to make a sale because, man, like, I don't have any other income coming in. It's a real thing, guys. So
Yeah, and I'd love to add on to that. I think if you are an agent and you're not in the investing side of things, then you're doing yourself and your clients a real disservice because you do have a market advantage. And I'm not just talking about the commission side of things. Yeah, that's income in your pocket when you buy and sell stuff for yourself. But the learning curve of all the different strategies that you can help your other clients with, turning a homeowner that you help put them into an apartment. And then finally, now they're 3 houses later living in $1 million community. Guess what? They're on a track where they're going to have cash and looking to invest it. And who would you rather them invest it with? Some other co-star agent or coming to you who they know and trust and has experience picking up investment properties and can talk with them about some of the high level terms and the return aspects and stuff like that. So if you're thinking about investing, I would highly recommend it as a real estate agent. If you're not investing in real estate, then you better be investing in something because there is no 401k state retirement policy. We have to build our own retirement. And I don't know about you guys, but I know when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, I don't want to be on the phones 8 hours a day, driving around people in my cars. I'd rather be looking back and sitting on a handful of investment properties that are taking care of me and my family.
Bingo. Yep. No, and you mentioned earlier too, like Brandon, and shout out to Brandon and Pockets. I can tell you guys, if you are an agent and you're not pursuing being able to work with investors and being knowledgeable and educating yourself on that, you really are missing out. There are a lot of investors that want specifically to work with agents who know what they're doing, can speak their language, and that will completely walk past an agent that has no business understanding any aspects of investing. They're like, no, you're a retail agent. I'm just not interested in working with you. You don't have the experience. You don't know the lingo. No, I'm not going to. And that could be, to Mike's point, that could be the client that's going to buy the next 10 houses from you. And so please don't overlook that. So very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, next question. What advice, if you had a time machine, you can go back to when you were 20 years old. Now, you actually got started pretty young, so I don't know, maybe this doesn't change anything for you. But if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you have for you?
If I could go back to my 20-year-old self, and interestingly enough, I had some investors that were in their early 20s, real young kids in college, kind of reach out through me through Bigger Pockets and kind of wanted to understand the different market dynamics and how they can get started. And one of the things that I tell them that I wish I would have done is going through that time frame when you're in your early 20s and early 30s, you pick up so many friends and relationships and meet so many people in such a rapid time frame that if I could go back, I would make sure I had a database that I was putting everyone's information into and continuing and setting them up on a continuous call and check in and maintaining that relationship. Because I can't tell you how many hundreds and hundreds of people that through 5 or 6 cell phones and different computers, and before there was a big CRM, all these CRMs available, that, man, I would have 3-4 times the amount of contacts and relationships that have been building over time, to where there are, the lead generation, you already have done that. You just got to keep track of them. So that's something I would say, if you're young, get a system and stay in touch with everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're 20 and you're listening to the show, you're already on the right track, but
That's right.
hopefully you got a pen and paper and you're taking notes to what Mike's talking about there. Cause that is a true gem. All right. Awesome. Next question. What would you consider the biggest lesson that you've learned over your career thus far?
The biggest lesson I've learned is when your gut tells you to go for something. When your instincts going against your instincts. I can't tell you how many opportunities that I was unsure about, and so I let pass me by. And I think as you get older, you start realizing time is short. Life is short. How many months do you have left in your lifetime? When you start looking at that number of months left in your life, wow, things really sink in. And then when an opportunity does come across your plate, the worst case scenario is you fail on your face, which is great because you learn an amazing lesson. And then the next time you know that lesson. If you don't fail, then you never learn it. So I think failing fast and doing things that make you uncomfortable is something that I wish I would have learned to do much younger. I feel like I did do things that made me uncomfortable, but I know I let a lot of things pass me by, and I never look back and regret even the deals that are the toughest. I never regret doing those deals. I always regret not taking on the deals that I had in front of me. Those are the ones that I regret. And I feel like your gut and your instincts and the universe point you to things, and you have to follow that yellow brick road, or that might be something that you do regret.
No, and it's true. And the older we get, it's like, yeah, I'm a man of faith. And so the Bible says to number our days. And that's for a reason. It's so that you take the advantage of the opportunity presented today. We're not promised it tomorrow. So it's, hey, if there's something there, I'm not saying to move recklessly or that kind of stuff, but hey, don't move forward. Don't not move forward because of fear. Right. And I think John Maxwell talks about failing forward, which is you're saying, hey, failing fast, failing forward, you're going to learn from it. So even if it doesn't work out exactly the way that you want it, guess what? You can learn from it. And when you're young is the time to do it. If you're like Mike and myself, you've got a bunch of kids and it's like, hey, you want to take your risk profile shifts a bit, the older that you get. When you're young and you can do it, man, go for it. That's the time. So very cool. Great advice. Great advice. Well, Mike, if our audience wants to reach out to you, maybe they're looking at property in Central Texas or they want to pick your brain, what's the best way for them to reach out and kind of touch base and get in touch with you?
That's easy. I'm across all the TikTok, Facebook, social media platforms at Ask Mike Coss, AskMikeCoss. You can find me across all those media platforms, and then that's my email as well. So you type that in, you'll find all the podcasts, all the media, all the things. You can DM me. You can, however you want to get a hold of me, I'll see it and I'll get back with you for sure.
Right on. Awesome. Well, Mike, I've truly enjoyed our conversation. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on with me and with our listeners. I know you brought a lot of value to them. So thanks so much. And hey, I'll have to hit you up the next time I'm down in Texas and see if we can connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe we'll cross paths in Florida. We go hang out on the island and do whatever the hell we want.
Hey, there you go. Right on. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Mike. We'll see you on the next one. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you very much.
All right. Great conversation with Mike Cossette based in Central Texas, serving all of kind of the Austin, Central Texas market. He's obviously a well-accomplished investor, but wanting to provide value to all of those clients, whether they be on the retail side, whether they be on the investing side. That's a huge differentiator, right? So you want to work with somebody who does have experience and the things that you're trying to get done, right? And obviously he just great heart. You can come across him. You can come across that seeing his smile and his demeanor. But guys, if you're interested and if you're finding value for one in the show, please share the episode. We want to be able to get these messages out to more and more people. So we'd love a 5-star review. We'd love for you to share and comment on the episodes, so that they get more traction. If you guys are here locally and you're here on Honolulu, maybe you're taking a vacation or you're coming out, or maybe you're here on island already, we'd love to be able to meet you in person. We do host monthly meetups, so we'd love to connect with you. You can find us on Eventbrite or Meetup or Bigger Pockets, search for Honolulu Multifamily and more. And we'd love to be able to connect with you in person. We do also have our annual conference coming up. That's going to be here coming up shortly, June 19th to the 21st. That is here on Oahu. It's the best conference that you come across on business and real estate anywhere in Hawaii. So make plans to be there. MillionaireMindsetBlueprint.com. You can get your tickets now. And we'd love for you to see you in person and take away a ton of value from the conference. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Go out, take some action, fail forward. Don't be afraid. And here's to your success. Aloha.